around with all this here for a second. Let's make sure we got everything going right. Come on, computer. Here we go. Here comes the screen. Maybe. Holy crap! We're horizontal. I don't believe it. All right. We don't have a goofy looking live stream tonight. What a surprise. Okay. So my apologies to everybody first. I'll tell you what happened here. So you guys know, usually about 5 o'clock, I open up the live stream because you guys like to come in and chat and everything. And so I go to set it up and get into Restream, which I use to do it on the computer. And it pops up my picture off the camera and everything. I'm like, oh, crap. I forgot to plug my microphone in. And so I shut down the live stream. I plug in the microphone. And then the computer says, we can't find your camera. So I spent the next hour and a half trying to figure this thing out. It's got to be inside my computer because I got with Microsoft support and everything. We couldn't find the camera on the computer. I know it's there. It was there 2 minutes before I tried to set up the microphone on it. So I took the microphone out. I restarted the computer. We went into the settings, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We reinstalled the software. Nothing worked. So here we are. We're on the phone. And believe it or not, it's actually working horizontal. They must have finally had enough complaints. Because remember, I used to always do it on my phone because the volume was better. I'm assuming nobody's got a problem with audio tonight, because we're on this little thing, which is the same thing I record every video on in the morning. So that's good. And I was like, all right, we got to make sure this thing works horizontally. And that was where the little test video came up an hour or so ago. And everybody's like, what happened? That's what I said, test. That's all it was. So in the interest of all of that, after we finally got this thing set up so you guys could get in there, with the problems I'm having with the microphone, with the camera not working, and with all of a sudden the computer getting a little slow, which doesn't do a whole lot of good when I'm trying to edit videos or do a lot of the other stuff I need to do, I bought a new computer. So that'll be here Thursday. So next week, hopefully with the new computer, another one, we will be back to decent audio and video and everything like that. So, sorry for messing everybody up this evening, but that was kind of what happened. I'm just tickled pink right now that the video is horizontal. That just drives me nuts. So, yes, Jay Tharp says, congratulations on the new computer. I didn't want to have to buy one. I did not want to have to spend $600 on a new computer. You know, it's Christmas time. It's like, crap, there goes my budget. But it is what it is. Like Mrs. P said, you got to have it. It's kind of hard to do what you do without a computer. So, and besides just YouTube. So, I need it for looking at resumes. I need it for paying my bills. Pick something. So, if we want to watch a movie, pick something. But that was it. So that'll be fixed. But at least tonight we're good to go. In other craziness today, if anybody caught this one, the ghetto whore, Jasmine Crockett, announced she's running for Senate. That's got to be the funniest thing I've ever heard. Now, granted, she probably thinks she's going to run against John Cornyn. John Cornyn's not going to be in the election, right, Texas? It's either going to be Wesley Hunt or Ken Paxton. I hope, because Cornyn's got to go. He is a rhino beyond belief. But I get a kick out of this, and in case you don't know this, anybody remember who Lloyd Benson is? Okay, we got to go back a while for this one. Lloyd Benson was the last Democrat elected by Texas to the U.S. Senate in 1988. And Jasmine Crockett is the next one they're going to run. This is our chance. You know, okay, no problem. You know, Beto O'Rourke would be have a better chance, but Jasmine Crockett thinks she's going to win. Got it. You know, the thing I look at that I'm so happy about, in 13 months we do not have to hear her nasty ass anymore. And the better part about it is she won't have been in the House long enough to collect a government pension. So, you know, I mean, we think about it. This is the woman who's been cashing it's either her aunt or her mother's Social Security check for 11 years after she died and didn't think that was a problem. That she's behind in her HOA fees or whatever it is for the condo she owns in Dallas, and they put a lien on her house. But this is somebody that we have in Washington, D.C., making the laws that the rest of us have to follow. I mean, why she's not in jail for Social Security fraud, I have no clue. You know, but of course, if she was, she'd go racism, racism, racism. You know, was it her in her campaign stump yesterday when she announced the first thing that she said that she's going to fight for is that blacks don't have to pay taxes. Okay, that wouldn't be discriminatory at all, right? Because my question is, can I identify for tax purposes? Because you can identify as everything else, right? You know, silly crap. So that was the fun one. I did want to say congratulations to Joe Cook, who is in here tonight. Okay. If you guys remember Joe's story, I told you his story. Oh God, it's got to be a year and a half ago at least now, where he had a neighbor who had redone all the grading on his yard, his neighbor's yard, to literally flood Joe's yard. And Joe went through 9 kinds of hell to get this rectified with the county, the city, the state. I can't even begin to imagine all the hoops he had to jump through. And Joe finally said, "To hell with it." I mean, I wouldn't want to live next door to a neighbor like that. Apparently, Joe didn't either. And he can tell his story. But I just wanted to welcome Joe to Tennessee because Joe closed on his property in East Tennessee today. Joe, welcome to the volunteer state. That was it. So that was some good news to see today. Did anybody see silver today? The price thereof. Silver broke $60 today. So we are now about 20% higher than the all-time high. Silver is up 109% this year. So I'm hoping a whole bunch of people listened when me and many other prepper channels over the years had said buy silver, because you've got a nice little nest egg you're sitting on there because of it, because it's doubled this year. And since about 2021 or 2022, it's more than tripled. Want to get into a little bit more on the economic front here. Tomorrow is the Fed meeting, and we will hear if the Fed cuts interest rates. Everybody's expecting it. I want to give you this. If you or your kids or whomever that you know is looking at buying a house, just a little heads up. And remember, I told you a few years ago, so if you wanted to buy a house, buy it now. It was January of 23, I think it was. Maybe it was, I think it was January 23, because we knew rates were going up. If you're looking at buying a house, I would advise doing it probably between after rates are cut and we see mortgage rates come down, so within the next couple of weeks, and probably spring. Because I'm willing to bet that by spring, the Fed goes, we got to raise rates. So just giving you a heads up there. That's kind of what the economic indicators are out there. Don't think this is a panacea that's going to last a long time. This is something that they're going to try to fix it, and then we'll see what happens. But the way unemployment's running, the way the economy's running, the way inflation's running, it would not surprise me if by second quarter next year we see them talking about raising rates again. Just giving you that as an idea. Okay. No promises there, but as the way the tea leaves are read right now, that's what it would say. All right, let's do some Q&A. As per normal, if you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps. Just makes it easier for me to go through the chat. Only rule, always has been, always will be, treat everybody in here politely. Okay. I don't care if you disagree with me, disagree with each other. That's acceptable, understandable. Hell, there's videos I've made in the last couple of days where I said, I'm betting there's people who disagree with me on this one. Okay. Disagreement's fine. Conversation is good. Insults are not. You want to insult somebody, go to many of the other channels where they like doing that. This ain't one of them. Okay. If you don't want to leave on your own and you want to be rude, we'll make you leave for you. So, okay. Let us get to Z-Top. And I never even, oh, there's all the 5x5s. Okay, good. I never even asked if you guys could hear me. I'd be talking for 10 minutes and nobody heard a word I said. So, though, I know my mods would have been blasting my email like crazy. Okay. Where are we? Do. Okay, Jamie Dolan, my video just disappeared. I had to search your channel. You even disappeared from my notifications. That was, yeah, like I said, that was just because it was a quick test. I mean, you guys know, just with videos, every once in a while, I'll throw one up at a weird time if something comes up. Live streams are scheduled and that's set in stone. I mean, if there's a major world event, yeah, I'd probably go on a live stream early. If all of a sudden Donald Trump was actually assassinated, the Democrats succeeded once, I'd probably pop in for a live stream real quick. But, to tell you, gee, the NCAA football teams have been picked for the playoffs, no, I'm not going to do that. It's going to be something. We went to war with Venezuela. Okay, maybe, but yeah. When you see something like that, it's at a weird time. It's usually me trying to make sure something works. Okay. Congrats on the new computer. Congrats on another bill. Healthy disrespect for authority. Did I finally dump Windows in favor of Linux? No, it's a Windows computer. Okay. So, yes, I know. I get it. Mrs. P's. See, you got to understand our family. You know how there's a lot of, you always hear the story. How can a liberal and a conservative marry each other? For the life of me, I can't figure. I dated a liberal woman one time. It was a train wreck. But we're one of those families where I'm the IBM guy, whatever you want, Android guy, Windows guy. She's the Apple person. Everything she's got is Apple. Everything I've got is IBM. And she's like, well, you should get a MacBook. I'm like, no, I'm not getting a Mac. But they're good. I'm like, I'm not learning a whole new operating system and trying to find all new software for everything I've already got. All I got to do is transfer this software to another computer, and it's easy enough. Not messing with that. I do not. I mean, you have no idea how many spreadsheets I have. And there's no way in the world I want to convert all those to something else and try to. I hate Safari. I remember having to use Safari one time. Oh God, probably 20 years ago now, and I couldn't stand Safari. So, okay. Some people love it. That's cool. I ain't one of them. But no, I've never used Linux. I know there's a whole lot of good stuff. I've never played with Linux in my life. So. Adam Hoffman, it's so nice when everything breaks around Christmas. Yeah, I know. There's never a good time for it, but come on, you know what? 2 weeks before Christmas, don't make me shell out this kind of money. Though I told Mrs. P, I'm like, you know what? This is where it comes into play where you go, thank God we got money saved and no bills, and it's not like, oh crap, now we can't have Christmas because I've got to do this. And I told her, I said, I go back to a good portion of my life, and this would have been panic. Go, oh crap, how am I going to come up with $600 what I paid for a computer? How am I going to come up with $600 to do this? And we've all been there. I mean, maybe not Elon Musk, but pretty much everybody who's watching this, I'm betting there's been a situation where you're like, how am I going to pay for this? So yeah, I told her, I said, I will probably never get that feeling out of me, like, oh crap, but fortunately I don't have a financially irresponsible wife anymore. So not this one. This one's always been good. All right. Paladin 1544. Pinball, the Opus 6000 you advertised, was that shipping right away from the company if we buy one? Honestly, I don't remember. I have 4 or 5 generators that we talked about in like a period of 2 weeks. What is it? The Opus Guardian 6000. Let me see if it was at the launch day. They had I remember this. They had 1,000 of them, and that was it. So I'm guessing it was. Yeah, supposedly they've sold 1,107 of them. I'm looking on the Opus webpage here. I know they had 1,000. So there are 107 people who were not going to get it until the next shipment came out, which was going to be in January. I know that. I remember that part of this one once I look at all of this. So depending on when you bought it, if you bought it and you don't know, I would contact them and say, where am I on the list? That'd be best thing I could say. Okay. Carmen Walden. What's the best way to keep potatoes from sprouting? Don't worry if they sprout. I'm assuming you're talking about your seed potatoes. Okay. And this is a mistake that I see people make all the time. And I every time I see these videos on YouTube telling you to do this, I'm like, that's wrong. They tell you put a potato in a paper bag and put it in the basement. And then in the spring, when you go out to do anything with it, you've got these tentacles on it that are 2 feet long and solid white, right? If you think about it, when you plant the potato in the spring, it's underground. It's in a dark, cool area. It's trying to grow. That's what you want it to do on the ground. When you put it in a paper bag, you are putting it in a dark, cool area. So it's going to try to grow. And then the sprouts are trying to find sunlight. They're growing. As I said, do not put them in a completely dark area. Put them, leave them out. I leave mine on the rack in the garage. Okay. They get a little bit of light. It's dry. It's cold outside. I mean, it's freezing temperatures here at night, but probably stays 40 in the garage, which is fine. And in the spring, I will have growth about that long on it that is green, not these long white tentacles. And then which eyes are good. And if you got a big potato, you go, okay, slice here, let it cure for a couple of days so it heals over the cut edge, and you're good. You don't want those big white tentacles. Don't put it in a total dark area. Don't leave it in a light area, but like I said, the laundry room is a perfect place for it. How often you go in the laundry room once a week, you turn on the light for a little bit, you shut the light off. Okay, it gets a little bit of light. There's some diffused light that comes in from the kitchen or wherever. Don't put it in a pure dark place. That's not good. Give it a little bit of light. That's what it'll need. It'll get a little bit green. You want it that way, you're good. So, but you're not going to prevent them from sprouting. Just try to manipulate the sprouting to your best interests, not what the potato is trying to do. Farm Ranch Homestead. Once you get the new computer set up to your liking, we can install Linux on the old one for you. Well, the old one's not, it'll be the one that's sitting right in front of me right now. It'll be a backup, but we know the microphone on it doesn't work. We know the camera on it doesn't work. So as long as the operating system, or as long as the, processor and everything like that works, it's fine. I'm not messing with it because it'll be my backup. I've got data on this computer that I'm going to have to transfer. I'll save the computer just in case something happens and I have to go back to doing it this way. Not that I can't do this all the time, but I want a computer that works, especially doing this. But I'm probably not interested in playing around that way. Let's see. Krista Cat, I haven't heard from you in a while. You told me about solar generators years ago. Told a lot of you about solar generators years ago. Snowstorm last night. Lost power, zero stress. Thank you. Ta-da! Because I'll tell you what, there would have been two thoughts in your head last night. I've got the generator. Let's go get it. Turn on the lights. Everything's good. Or it would have been, oh shit, he's been telling me about this for 3 years. Why did I never do it? Because now I need one. Those are the two thoughts that would have been running through your head. And fortunately, the good one is what ran through yours. You don't have to go set up your whole house on it or whatever, but have something that is going to turn the lights on and keep the food cold. At a minimum, you want to be able to see. Sure, I get it. You could walk around with flashlights and, headlamp or whatever, and we've all got that stuff, and that's good too, okay? But when you get up in the morning and it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and you want to go to the bathroom or to go take a shower, taking a shower with a headlamp on is not going to be a good idea. You want to turn the lights on or have a lamp or something that you can kind of see what you're doing. Just even if you have something small, that's good. Even if you decide you want to do a propane or diesel or gas generator, I don't care, any of them, but have something as a backup for storms. And like you said, you had a snowstorm last night. It's early December. We've got, 4 months of winter left? You think we might have another issue sometime? I do. Prep Rebel saying 0 degrees here still. I'm guessing you're up in Canuckistan. Because if it's 0 degrees in Southern California, we got bigger problems. Let's see. Adam Hoffman's so happy Jasmine's running for Senate. Yeah, it pretty much means the Republicans don't have to spend a whole lot of money down there. That's the way I look at it. The only reason she's running, okay, she knows she's not going to win. But she's like, crap, I don't have a district anymore, so I can't stay in Congress, so I need one last grift. So I'll run for Senate. I'll get a whole bunch of campaign contributions, and I'll live high off the hog for the next year, limousines and fancy dinners and travel all over the place. And George Soros will pay for it. And then maybe with a little luck, I can slide some of that campaign cash into my pocket. Because, she's a lawyer. Could you imagine hiring her? For what? Your divorce? You're screwed. Your murder case? Enjoy death row. she's never won a case in her life. The only victory she's ever had, the case was thrown out. That was it. She's a failure as a lawyer. She won't tell you that, but go look it up. She's got one victory, and the case was thrown out. She didn't win. It was the evidence was tainted or something of the sort like that. And that's how her client got off. Hart Miller, I bought some Mercury dimes the other night, a little more to add to my stack. Yep, I mean, I have a real hard time here at $60 saying buy silver. I mean, I was telling you guys, yeah, I'd still buy it at 40. Okay, that was good. At 60, I'm going, yeah, that's a little hard. Yeah. Wait, you know how I do the New Year's predictions every year? This one's going to be funny. You guys get a heads up on this one. I think on New Year's Day, I said I expected silver to be somewhere between 30 and 35 before the end of the year. I said it was going to be up. I just was a little bit off on how much. So, to the tune of about $30. Okay, let's see. Hang on, we just shot to the bottom. Whoop, there we go. There was Mercury dimes. Marie Schoen, I'm going to take a guess there. How well do I speak the Russian language? Well enough that I could find myself a bathroom in an airport. That would be about it. Please, thank you, yes, no, excuse me. That I probably know 4, 5, 6 phrases in Russian. That's it. You know, it's not close enough to check that I can understand a lot of it. I can pick up a word here and there because they're the same, but no, it's nothing. You know, Mrs. P will listen to the Russian news sitting on the couch next to me, and it's like white noise in the background. I don't understand a word. And all of a sudden, I'll hear Zelensky. I'm like, oh, what's going on? That's it. You know, don't understand it, can't speak it, nothing. Kathleen RN, do we also have sauerkraut at Christmas? No. Sometimes, let's put it that way. There's a few things that we don't have anymore. You know, Mrs. P doesn't like Jell-O, so we don't have Jell-O. That was always part of my Christmas growing up. Getting the dumplings is impossible. I've now found out that Chateau Dumplings went out of business, so don't have those anymore. I've tried making dumplings before. I have done it. Okay, bread dumplings, and that's very different than what you think Southerners think of dumplings. But I've made them before. It's just a lot of work. But no, sauerkraut, no. Maybe if, depending on what you have for Christmas Day dinner, if we have turkey, yes, you know, then it's just like a Thanksgiving dinner. But considering Christmas is just me and Mrs. P, we usually wait till PBJ comes in before we do the second Christmas dinner, and then I kind of leave it up to her what she wants to have. Most of the time, she usually picks ham, so which is fine with me too. So, all right, it is 8:28, and I got 3 little slips of paper here that need a name attached to them. So we will do round 2 of pinball trivia. Now, if you were not here last week, we will explain what this is real quick. I'm going to ask everybody a question on something that I have said in a video somewhere down the road. Most of them are since Labor Day. Okay. It's about me or Mrs. P or PBJ or something like that. Something personal. I will ask the question. The first person to come up with the correct answer in the chat room gets to pick a number. And on these slips of paper here are prizes that me and Mrs. P have purchased. Okay, these are not sponsored by any companies or anything like that. This is kind of our way of giving back to you guys, say thank you and Merry Christmas. The catch is you're not going to, when I started this the first time, they were relatively easy. Okay. And we had some people that said, oh my God, because the delay and everything like that, or their computer being a little slower. Sometimes I had the answer already before they even heard the question. So a lot of people asked me to make the questions harder, so it took longer to get it. Now, last week, we had the question of what was the drink Mrs. P ordered at our 10th anniversary dinner. Okay. And it probably took 10 minutes to find the answer till finally somebody got the correct answer, the full correct answer, which was a Jack Daniel's Old Fashioned. Okay. And so he picked out of the numbers and he won himself a solar generator. Ironically, that's what it wound up being. So we shipped that out and he got that. I think he said it came either Saturday or yesterday, one of the two. So he got that because I ship it out right away. So that's kind of how this works. Now, this is different than the normal drawings, okay? I'm not telling anybody, don't comment. Everybody is open for the comment, including the mods. They can answer these questions too, because nobody knows the answer. Well, everybody knows it if they watch videos, but nobody knows the question except for me. Okay? So they have no idea what it's going to be. The deal is this, and I don't know for sure, but I'm going to say the rule is whoever has the correct answer first, as it shows up in the chat room on my computer. I'm assuming we all see the chat in the same order. I'm not going to guarantee it, okay? I will look from the top. I'm not just going to wait and say, oh, pick one here. There's an answer. No, I'm looking for whoever has first. So it takes a little bit. So that's it. So we will do this question. This answer has 2 words in it. You have to have both words. I'm not going to be particular about the spelling. It's got to be good, close enough that I know what it is. Okay. It can't be black cherry and you put red apple and I go, oh, that's it. Okay. It's got to be close enough that I can guess that it's right. Do not abbreviate. Try to come as best you can. You must have both words. Must. Okay. All right. Let me put the screen in the right spot so I can see the answers go all the way to the bottom. I'm going to lose a lot of the questions I didn't answer already. So just so you guys know. Ready? Here we go. Back when I was a kid, I was in the hospital for 3.5 weeks in a coma. What did I have that put me in the coma? 2 words. Go. There it is. Wow, that was quick. The second person, Disney up, boiler up, got it. Spinal meningitis. I did not think that. A lot of you guys had that. I thought that was going to be a tough one. I figured a lot of people remember the meningitis part, but I didn't think you'd remember the spinal part. Okay. Well, Disney up, boiler up. Congratulations. You win. There's a lot of people that got that one. I did not think that was going to be easy. And there's a whole bunch of people. Bacterial, viral, those have been Lyme disease, bird flu. All right. Well, Disney up, boiler up. I've got, if I can hold them all somehow, 3 numbers left. 1, 2, and 4. Pick one. And we will look for her answer and see what she is the proud winner of. 2. Get it out. Numero dos. And she is the proud winner of... Okay. You won yourself an Opus generator. It is what it is. I will tell you this, the other two, because I don't know which number's which either. I mix them up before I put the numbers on. I know for certain the other two prizes are not generators. So that's it. But you just won yourself a Opus generator. What I need you to do is email me your name, real name, okay, physical mailing address and phone number. If you can send that to me tonight, I will take it to either UPS or the post office tomorrow, depending on when I go into Pirate Chip and see which way's cheaper. Okay, no offense, but I'm going to try to save some money on postage. These things cost me, the big generators that I ship out, about $150 in postage. So yeah, I will do it that way. I try to save a couple of bucks that way. But send that to me. Congratulations, you just won yourself a new solar generator. And we will do it again next week. Okay, and why? Hang on. What is my... All right, that's better. All of a sudden, my tripod decided it wanted to fall down. Okay. Yeah, I still need that. Too many things. All right, let's see how far I can get back to the top if I still got questions, because that was fast. Do. I can get up. I actually get into a bunch of them. Okay. Russell Wiggins says, Pinball, I received mine in 5 days. I'm going to take a guess that is in response to the Opus 6000 generator. I'm guessing because we don't have context there, but that was the only thing I would have talked about and received. So somebody else said we received our Opus within 10 days. Okay. Took 2 weeks to get mine. Right. So a few people got it. All right. So yeah, you might be in that 107. I'm not sure. I'd call them and ask. Kitsy Witty. California, why did FEMA reclassify my neighborhood as a high flood fire risk? And should I lawyer up? We were not notified by any county or federal agency they were doing this. No clue, honestly. I mean, it's kind of interesting that they call you a high flood and a high fire risk. Seems like those are contradictory. It's like, but, you know, with the way Gavin Newsom's running the state, the entire state's at high fire risk because, hell, you got no water. I'd start by contacting FEMA and say, why? Because the deal is now you're going to have to pay more in insurance for what insurance companies are left in California. Because remember, floods are not covered by your regular home insurance. And, you know, if the insurance companies go, oh, you're in a high fire risk area, well, here, we're going to triple your rates. I'd find out why. That would be the first thing. And then if you talk to your neighbors and they are all under the same reason, maybe you guys get together and fight it. I mean, that's the thing. This is the problem. When we just accept overreach by the government, we don't have a leg to stand on. You know, when we start questioning them and go, why? And their reasons are bullshit. You know, that's how we control the government. But too many people are like, oh, you know, it is what it is. No, it's not. You know, put a little effort into it. Do a little bit of digging. And you're asking the right question. Should you do something? Yes. Contacting a lawyer at first. I'd call FEMA first. You know, lawyer's going to charge you. You know, you can make a phone call, so can a lawyer. It's just not going to cost you $600 an hour. You know, because you might, I don't know, maybe you've even got some sort of case against the county for the simple reason of not notifying you. You know, that would be something too. You know, imagine they did this. You know, Pacific Palisades happens in your neighborhood tomorrow. You don't know, and the insurance company goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, FEMA declared you a flood zone last week. We're not covering this." And you're like, no, nobody ever notified me. You know, So why didn't the insurance company notify you? There's another place to go. LG girl just had to shell out $420 for a new Aquastat for our heating system. Thank God my husband could install it himself. Yes, trust me about doing some of the installations yourself. I mean, some of them are easier than others. I mean, I had to put a water heater in. I mean, that's not terrible. But when you're talking about these guys want $1,000 to go install something, I mean, come on, an electric water heater is not that hard to install, especially when you're replacing one. It's like, gee, the hot pipe, the cold pipe, I put them in the appropriate places. I put the pan underneath and I plug it in, or wire it in, not plug it in. Not hard, but you don't have to pay somebody outrageous money. Having skills like that, not telling you to rebuild an engine in a car, okay, but basic household repair skills can save you a boatload of money. And that's one spot that I really feel bad for these young kids, because they don't have the skills. They never learned them, because the answer was always, I'll just call maintenance or I'll call a repair guy. And if you've ever called an appliance repair guy, I mean, well, it's a $75, $100 trip fee. Want to give you a perfect one. If your washer or dryer goes out, I mean, a good washer or dryer costs you $700. A cheaper one will cost you $300, right? Say you've got a $300 washer, $400 washer, and the thing breaks. If you call up the repair guy, a repair guy is going to tell you it's going to cost you less money to go buy a new one than it is for me to come out and fix it. Now, if you can fix it on your own, great. I had a dishwasher problem. God, it's got to be about 5 years ago. And I got on YouTube and I said, this is the problem. This is what's happening. Why isn't it working? And guy walks you through. He says, oh, go check this. And I went and checked. Sure enough, piece was broken. It was like a $4 part. I ordered it, put it on in 30 seconds, and the dishwasher worked. When I called a repair guy, that would have cost me $200. So, a lot of times use YouTube to figure out some of this stuff. If you don't know, some of this, like I said, some of this stuff's over your head. I'm not going to go try to replace the engine in a car. Okay. I don't have those skills, but appliance repair and stuff like that, it's not that difficult. You can figure it out with a little bit of instruction. It just takes a little bit of looking for it. Paprika Pauline, can I grow potatoes in winter? It never freezes here in Northern California. How cold does it get? You're still going to need 70-degree days. And if it's not going to get warm enough, you're not going to get anything to grow. So, but I mean, again, potatoes are something that you can literally grow in the house. You can put buckets in the house and grow them in there. Put them in a window so the greenery gets some sun, and you can grow, 5-gallon buckets in the east-facing or south-facing window you've got, you'd be good. But you do need that warmth. Prep Rebel says, yes, you can. Okay, so it's going to be warm enough. Cool. Now, like I said, you still got to have the temperatures. I don't know how cold it gets there. You got to remember the last time I was in Northern California, even if you consider it Northern California, was Monterey, and that was in the mid 80s. And it was chilly. I don't remember that. I can't ever remember wearing heavy jackets or anything there. But again, that's going back 40 years too. Moving on down the road. Have I ever grown sunchokes, aka Jerusalem artichokes? If so, did they grow well in your zone? I'm in zone 9A along the Gulf Coast. It was my first year to grow them. No, I have never grown them. So I've heard of them. I've seen videos of people that grown them, but I'm not going to be a resource for how to grow them. I've never done it. One who was a good resource was North Shore Prepper. Unfortunately, we lost him a couple of years ago, but I remember him growing them on the side of his house, and he did really well with them. So I don't know if Danny and Wanda grow them or not. Yeah, I can't think of there. I remember the only video I can ever remember watching was North Shore Preparedness, and like I said, you're not going to ask him questions. So, Hillbilly Homestead. We will be busy this Sunday culling 6 meat birds. Fowling week, culling 2 rabbits. Following week, culling 2 rabbits. There you go. Okay. Hopefully you're going to get out there and teach the kids. That would be kind of fun. I mean, remember, what was it, about a year and a half ago? I got taught how to skin a rabbit. Okay. You know, got to learn sometime. I've never had to do it before. Okay. Now I've learned how to skin a rabbit. So, Jennifer Perry. Hi, Pinball. Does Mrs. P have any Russian Christmas cookie recipes to share, or sweet loaf bread? The Christmas cookies around here, and a lot of you guys know, are made by yours truly, okay? And I make Czech kolečky. So, Mrs. P is not a baker at all. She doesn't bake. I mean, the cookies I make, there is a video in the Cooking with Mrs. P playlist on how to make kolečky. Those are Czech cookies. So if you want to take a look at that, that's the best I got for you. Moving on down the road. Chris the Cat, I listened. Number 3, Opus 600s and a 1300 FF from you a couple of years ago. Turned them on, plugged in my phone, and went to bed. There you go. Okay. Let's see. Ann Jennings, thank you, Pinball. Hubby retired in August, so paid off home, bought a full Blue Eddy system, bought silver. Awesome. There you go. Get yourself set up. Now, you got the food taken care of. You got the personal protection devices taken care of. Water. Okay. There's always something else, medical, things to look at. And eventually, the journey never has an end, but the journey does taper off eventually. You're going, I don't know what else I feasibly need. It's like, okay, I've got X amount of guns. I've got all these generators. I've got 3 years of food. I've got all this silver. What do I do? Somehow, some way you manage to figure out, it's like, I need to do this next. That's when you really start focusing on skills. That's when you go, okay, you know what? Maybe instead of spending money on stuff, maybe I'll go take a class at the community college on how to do something. I know Mountaintop Preps was telling me, I guess it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, they went and took a class on how to skin a deer. I thought it was kind of cool. You know what? Hey, go for it. So, Carmen Walden, did we get any ice from the last storm system? No, we were lucky. We got all rain. So, and then it got cold, but that was after everything had dried up. There were maybe a little patches on the road, but nothing much. So we got lucky. We missed out on that one. What comes this weekend, I don't know, because we're supposed to get rain, and then whether or not that system dips low enough to get to me is whether we stay in the 30s or we go down in the single digits. All right. Daisy Duck, so you're Polish too. I'm Polish and Russian. Yeah, yep, I'm Polish and Czech, so, okay. My mom would make poppy seed rolls and nut rolls at Christmas time. We'd have a leg of lamb. I don't make a leg of lamb. It gets a little expensive these days, but Mrs. P loves poppy seed rolls. We buy those. I've made poppy seed kolečky, but usually I'm doing it with the jellies and the jams that we make. So this year is going to be interesting. We're going to have muscadine kolečky. Don't tell it, check that. They're going to look at you and go, what the hell is this? But it's fun, and she loves them. So, I mean, I made, about 4 dozen last year, and they were gone in less than a week. Angel's Garden 3000. I'm in Maine, and my light company had about 20 towns lose power at the same time for 20 minutes. Somebody else was telling me about I think they were in New Hampshire. Was telling me about losing power. So who knows? I don't remember the power company. If I was in Maine once when I lived up there, but I don't know if it's the same power company. I don't remember who the power company was. I mean, I lived in New Hampshire for about 18 months, so. D. Gallagher, Jello with fruit cocktail is good. I know, I like it. She doesn't. I'm not eating a whole Jello mold, so. Damselfly, turkey stuffed with sauerkraut is so good. I've never heard of that. And considering sauerkraut is on our Thanksgiving plate, never heard stuffed with sauerkraut. That's interesting. I don't know. I'd be really hard pressed though to not stuff it with my stuffing. My great grandmother's stuffing recipe, at least hers. Okay, here. I'm finally getting in the comments where you guys had the answers to the trivia question. So that give you an idea how far behind I am. Broken Dolly, I make cabbage rolls with Polska kielbasa, tomatoes, and Bavarian kraut for Christmas. That sounds good. Can I come over for dinner? Trying to get good kielbasa is hard. You got to remember, I'm spoiled when it comes to ethnic food because growing up in Chicago, you had all when I was little, okay, now they've completely changed, but you had the Polish neighborhoods, you had the Lithuanian neighborhoods, the Czech neighborhoods, so you had the bakeries of these, and the butchers of these people that were first generation. And so I got so used to, I mean, Italian beef sandwiches, you've heard me talk about this before, and everybody's got their favorite Italian beef in Chicago, but those people that remember Carms, it was like that was the best. And now, you're going, oh, Portillo's. It's like, okay, that's a chain. I'm talking about a family-owned joint. Those are things I miss, I remember there was a butcher shop in Westmont, for those of you guys that live in Chicago, that you'd get real kielbasa. I mean, not this Eckridge stuff or whatever that's, dog food inside a tube. It's all grease. This thing was solid meat. And when we lived in Indiana, we'd go back to Chicago and I'd always pick up a couple of them. I mean, they were, $12 a sausage or whatever it was, but they were so good. Again, you remember the excitement I had last year, and I'll find out later this week too about going to the Russian grocery here, the Eastern European grocery in Knoxville, and I found whole herring last year. I haven't had whole herring for Christmas dinner in 15 years. It was like, I mean, I was jumping for joy in the store when I found whole herring last year to pickle my own herring. It was like, that's what I remember. I remember going down Archer Avenue Fish Market in Chicago again and picking fish out of the barrel, and that was how you got your fish. So that's what I grew up with. Okay, a bunch of congratulations. The Tile Man 1984. Why is silver up so much today? Good question. I think there's multiple reasons. We are on the industrial side, we are using more silver than we are mining. Okay. So that's making it scarce. That's a big driver for the price. Right? Because remember, like I said, your phone, your computer, your solar panels, your solar generators, anything electronics got silver in it. Okay. And when all these places around the world going alternative energy, solar power, we need a lot more silver. So that has a driver to it. I don't know if the Trump deal with China on the NVIDIA chips today had anything to do with it, but it might have. But the other thing that I think had a lot to do with it is tomorrow is the Fed meeting, and you had a lot of people shifting money into safer assets. It was kind of a bifurcated market today. It was very interesting. Silver was way up, gold was up, but Bitcoin was up, and you could say, okay, people, I'm sorry when people say, oh, it's digital gold, or a safe asset. Don't tell me Bitcoin's a safe asset. Okay. People were rotating out of Dow stocks. The Dow was down near 200 points. Okay. So your old, boring, staunchy stocks, and buying technology and buying Bitcoin. So you had, if you go low risk, moderate risk, and high risk, people were buying the low risk stuff, buying the high risk stuff, and selling the moderate risk stuff. Confusing. Figure that out. So the only thing I can think of is that there were a lot of people put, A, the industrial side, but B, a lot of people using it because they're worried what the Fed's going to do tomorrow. So that's my guesses. We just shot to the bottom. Good thing I got through so many questions so fast. Okay, there we go. Congratulations. Bass Acrid Disney at Boiler Up is lucky this week. She won on Alaska Preppers live stream on Sunday. Wow. Jeez. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Maybe we should change that. BW3506, I remembered it because I was vaccinated for that and was partially paralyzed for over a week. Okay. I'm still shocked so many people remember it. It's not like I said it one time in a video, and there we go. And you guys all remembered. So you guys do pay attention. I'm proud. Melissa Carrier, I'm sorry. Should we be worried about the solar storm tonight? Depends on where you are. I don't know. I mean, every time we've got one of these, you hear all these people screaming, oh my God, it's going to be a Carrington event type thing or whatever. If it is, we deal with it. Okay. I mean, there's nothing you're going to do about it. We can't just hold up an umbrella and make sure it's one of those worry about it when it happens, and until it happens, don't worry about it, because there's nothing you can do about it. Serenity prayer type stuff there. Mike Boggs F8I. Oh, I haven't answered this question in years. What's the background of how you decided to get started with a YouTube channel? Because I was watching prepper videos, and I was really getting fed up that everybody I was watching, because I'm going through the internet just like you guys did, and everybody I was watching was either constant fear porn or constant trying to sell me something. And I'm like, give me the information I know. You must buy this or you're gonna die. No, not at all. Or the other one. The other one struck me as the guy's holding the sign. The end of the world is nigh. Yeah, it's coming. One day. Is it tomorrow? Is it next week? We don't know. Okay, but all I saw was nobody was doing anything to help other people. It was all how they could help themselves. And I was like, that's not the way this needs to be done. Prepping is all about community. And I'm like, I'm gonna see if I can build that. And by the grace of God, here I am, and here you guys are. So, Jason was a big help, Angry Prepper. He brought me on early onto his show to kind of introduce me to people, and that helped. And, I was watching videos, and people got to know me through other live streams and stuff like that, so that helped too. But yeah, the big reason was I didn't find anything out there that was what I was looking for. I thought it should be done differently, so I decided I was going to do it differently. And some people, you guys here who are here, obviously appreciate that. Other people were like, "Oh hell no, I need to be sold every day, or all I want is gloom and doom." Okay, then this ain't the right place for you. That's fine. So I got it. I'm not for everybody. I know that. I don't try to be for everybody. I highly doubt there's a whole lot of liberal preppers that watch me, but if they do, they don't last long. And it doesn't bother me. Essential Tam, not sure if my question passed already, but I would like to organize a little help for one of the local pinballers. I need advice. If you can help me, may I email you? Yeah, go ahead. Email me and tell me what's going on. I'll see what kind of hints and tips and tricks I can give you. What's worked and what hasn't in the past too. Wes Malone, Pinball, I got my Opus 6K in 5 days. Ask if they will do a special on expansion batteries. Okay, yeah, I can talk to Miley about that, see what's going on. Sounds like a lot of you guys picked up on that one. That's cool. That thing's a beast. I have a good joke for you, Jasmine Crockett. Yeah, that's a bad joke. Bad every way you slice it. Scrolling. Tom, why does Russia want Ukraine so badly? There's the thing. It's not necessarily that Russia wants it. It's the people in Lugansk and Donetsk and the Donbass region and everything. They're ethnic Russians. They speak Russian. They want to be part of Russia. And then say what you will about Putin, but, he's going, all right, I want the empire back a little bit. And, if they want to be part of it, I'll help. It's not like we're talking, oh, gee, you know what? There's tons of oil there. Russia's got tons of oil down south anyway. Oh, gee, all the grain that's grown there, that's not a big deal either. It's more for the people that live there. They are of Russian heritage living in Ukraine, and they want to be part of Russia. And so Putin's trying to do it. I mean, this war should have been over in 2 days. Okay. That should have been it. This shouldn't even have been a war. Okay. But Lugansk, Zelensky just saw it as the greatest grift in the world. And then it was like, two guys just butting heads as long as they can, and it just escalates. It's like, I'm not going to give up. I'm not, you're not going to give up. And then we wind up with what's now, 4 years? Yeah. It's just stupid. And the fact that all of Europe decided to get into it, and all of the United States decided to get into it, but you got to remember, Zelensky's like, oh, we want to be part of NATO, but the previous agreements that Russia had was that Ukraine would never be part of NATO, so you had that sort of violation. He doesn't. Then you get we don't want NATO troops on our back door, except Lithuania, Latvia, and Estonia are part of NATO, and they're on Russia's border. So Poland, but Poland's Belarus, but it's just pardon my French, it's a dick measuring contest between the two of them. Janine Naker, have you grown paprika? Well, paprika is actually a kind of pepper that you make, but no, I do not. Paprika is actually, is the word Indian for pepper? Paprika is actually a foreign word. I don't remember what language it is for pepper. So like green pepper, it's all it is. Vicky Savage, Danny and Wanda do not grow Jerusalem artichokes. Okay, I wasn't sure. Shelley Frazier, Lord, ever had a teenager help you change a wax ring in the toilet? He stopped up. Prepare to laugh your ass off if you ever have to. I'm sure he'll never forget how to do the task. If the teenager stopped up a toilet enough that you had to remove the whole toilet, what are you feeding him? He's doing washing his underwear in the toilet. I mean, you got to really get something stuck in there if you're gonna need to take the toilet off. Interesting. Okay. Thanks for that picture in my head. Oh, crap. And it's 9:05. Boy, I just kind of ran long. Okay. Well, I didn't notice that, but we got 5 extra minutes there. And Jason, if you're watching, I'm sorry. All right, guys. Have a good night. We'll see you in the morning. Pinball out.